Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Integrative Approaches in Healthier Living. Tammy Tomlinson here with Coach Chris Bush. We're so excited to have you back with us today, and we're looking forward to another great conversation. Hi, Chris. How are you today?
I'm doing well, Tammy. How are you doing?
I am good, thank you. Getting ready we're spring, but I'm ready for the summer. I like the warm weather, so
Yeah, yeah.
ready to go.
It's been pretty warm here as well, so I understand.
Cool. Cool.
So, last time we chatted, um, let's see. Last time we chatted, we talked a bit more about your story, your aha moment, and because I want to add some relevancy to your intentionality, like we chatted about, uh, why don't we dive in and talk a little bit about where we're at now, like some of the things that you and I have been working on over the last year. We've done a lot of cool things with your diet, addressed a few different health concerns there. Maybe roll back a year, maybe it actually was a year and a half now, when we kind of started to address like blood pressure concerns that arrived due to Trikafta and the modulator, now know that really helped you absorb foods better and vitamins and minerals better. So why don't we chat a little bit about that? Sound good?
Okay, wow. There's a lot to unpack. And we're going to do that over time. Trust us and when we say this, because this is a journey, and it's every day. It's constantly changing, its evolution, but that's part of life. And yes, definitely, when my blood pressure starting to increase, started rising, it was very concerning because that was never an issue for me before. And having to navigate that was problematic for me, which was why one of many reasons why I valued you and your input, because of your knowledge and being able to help work with me on a weekly basis and sometimes daily basis, right? And
Right.
and you gave me insight and taught me how to change my diet to improve, cardiovascular disease or CVD. And there were times where I was like, "Huh, man, I'm not doing that. That's too tough. I can't change how I'm eating. I've been doing this for 50 some odd years now." You're kidding,
Right.
right? You really
Right.
want me to start eating differently. And
Yeah, absolutely. Let
it,
me
it was
let
a
me interrupt
process,
you.
right?
Yeah, let me interrupt you really quick because you brought something to mind. Um, when we made that journey, and because we chatted previously about like advice that we had been given by like the health community at that point, and now with the Trikafta modulator, like things were changing, and we'll get into a little bit more of that in a second. But before, previously, I remember you and I chatting about this because I had worked with CF clients in the past, and the Trikafta thing was new for me, and it was new for you. But previous to that, like the advice that I'd heard from medical practitioners and you had been told was, okay, you need to eat a really high fat diet. You need to eat as much as you can. No regard for a lot of the times nutritional value,
Or
things that
caloric
they didn't.
intake, right? I
Yes,
mean,
or
eat
caloric
as many
intake. Yeah.
calories as you can possibly muster. Yes.
Right, right. So dive into that a little bit more. Unpack it a little bit, that nugget about maybe some of the advice and the things you were told from your perspective.
Yeah, so continuing with that same mindset of eating all the time, because pre-Trikafta, right? The my body, CF bodies, malnutrition, not absorbing our food, my food and nutrients to the ability of how our bodies are designed, so that when we eat fruits and vegetables and proteins and things like that, our body assimilates and digests and utilizes all of those nutrients to the best of our body's ability in a quote normal healthy body, of which I did not have.
Right,
And
right,
then you bring Trikafta into the mix, and my body went, wait, what? What? So then as a result, I continued eating the same way that I did, but like I tripled the amount of fat intake I was consuming based on what I thought I needed for this new medication. And
Right.
oh my gosh, did the pounds pack on. I gained a
Yes. Yes.
ton of weight and I wasn't happy
Right.
with that. I wasn't
Right.
happy. So we worked on that. We worked on
Yeah,
that.
and obviously the blood pressure was creeping up in regards to that. And I guess that leads us to the actions we took and the goals we set around that. So at that point, I remember not only did we start to address the types of foods that you were eating and trying to incorporate, more nutrient dense foods, but a big thing that we did was having you start to, track your eating to kind of monitor what that looked like,
Definitely.
help you eat more consistently.
Definitely.
And that, coupled with especially what I mentioned previously, like improving your eating, helping you reduce like some of the preservative rich foods.
Right.
We've
Right.
seen your blood pressure continuously come down. What are your current numbers right now?
Now I'm back into the teens and 20s, low 20s. That top number,
What does
whatever
that look
the top
like from
number.
a
So from
systolic and
previously,
diastolic?
I would say like 122 over 67,
Okay,
and I have a log because that's just what I do. I keep a log, and
right,
Chris was very dependent on me knowing what my numbers were at every minute of every day because that was what I did and do. So I
right,
was I was hitting the 150s, 140, 150, occasionally the 160, and that was just unacceptable in
right,
my my journey. I knew it wasn't normal for me, and I knew that I had to figure out a way to get back to what was a comfortable rate for my body and for me to continue to
right,
live a long and healthy life.
right. Absolutely. Yeah, I mean, I think last time we were really, really checking in on that, it was normal to see you down in like the 115,
It,
117.
it it's been such a delight to turn that button on that machine and have that result come back and be as good as it used to be. And it's just been wonderful.
Yeah,
It's one less thing to have to be concerned about, right? And, with
right,
the whole lung and heart and keeping everything pumping, keeping everything moving. It just makes it easier for my body if I'm
right,
dealing with an elevated blood pressure. But
right,
real quick to circle back around though with the food, as a
right,
result of starting Trikafta, I also had to actually reduce the amount of salt that I consume because with
right,
Trikafta, right, my body is actually absorbing and holding on to everything exponentially.
right.
And so then the what's the word? Help me. Inflammation, I feel like
Ah, yes,
was increasing drastically
right, right,
with the diet that I was following. So that's been a big play in us
right,
really dialing in on what I'm eating. And to your point on the food tracking, it makes
right.
it very easy to recognize that.
Yeah, honestly, like, and speaking to that point, like the inflammation point, was kind of our journey through the food sensitivities because, yeah, we were thinking, sodium was like the main culprit for a while, but then we found, with tracking, which tracking, like, a lot of times, just a side caveat, people don't like to track because it's something where you have to, put it in a journal and keep record of it, and stay on top of it. People typically like, I mean, in general, like we like things easy, even myself, like I try to keep things as easy as I can on myself, outside of like my goals when they need serious attention. But the beauty
But you
about
also do food tracking for yourself, right?
I do, absolutely, and part of that is because I have my, I for years battled with like eating disorders, but not like from the standpoint of eating disorder like anorexia or things like that, but just really, really distorted eating patterns because of just work life balance in the United States, and typically how much we emphasize work, 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 and not taking time to properly eat and eating fast food and skipping meals and so on and so forth. But with the tracking, and just really as a valuable tool for, I mean, for you and I, especially like to look back and be like, especially with the food sensitivities, because with the trikafta, we're discovering, you know, now that your body is absorbing some of these foods that it normally was not before, and we're like, wow, okay, like where is this low energy coming from? Where is this inflammation coming from? You know, why am I feeling tired? Why do I feel like, you know, like my sinuses are always clogged, or just your body doesn't want to move in general? And that allowed us, especially, you know, working with your doctor, you know, and having the food test or the food sensitivity and food allergy testing done, and taking that information, we were able to like use the tracker and go back and look and see like what did you eat. That really helped us weed through the woods on that too.
Yes, definitely. And to your point, I mean, I did have a doctor schedule and we did all of the blood work, was how I came up with my food sensitivity list. And
Correct.
you know, you do technically they say here's your food sensitivity. We do an elimination diet depending on where you fall within these different ranges. You can eliminate these things from anywhere from like 1 to 6 months, and then you can slowly incorporate them back into your diet. But I think the key for me is I have discovered that no, I'm not in a position where I'm able to incorporate these foods back into my diet. So I've had to learn to
Right.
navigate and eat differently, which ultimately has been a healthier way of eating. But at the same time, I feel it when I eat something that my body really isn't um,
Right.
wanting in it.
Agreeing with.
Yeah, exactly. Agreeing with.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, even nowadays, like you and I, like we're commonly like, okay, like you're like, oh, a couple of days, that was like my energy was gone.
It was.
And we're like,
It was
okay,
like
like what? Yeah,
nothing
what
left.
do,
Nothing left.
yeah.
I'm going for a nap now. See you later. Bye.
Right. Well, I mean, the work was worth it, right? The work was worth it because yeah, you had to put the time and effort into doing these things, but I mean, how are you feeling now versus,
Oh,
you
I
know, where
feel
you were
amazing.
previous?
I am amazing. I mean, it's crazy to say that because, you know, here I am. I'm quickly approaching the 57 mark, which is just mind-boggling. But it, I honestly, I feel every day. I think I feel healthier than I did 4, 5, 6, 7 years ago, if not 10 or 20 years ago. It's astonishing, actually.
Yeah.
And yeah, it really is. I had a thought, but I lost it, but it'll come back to me.
It's all good. Food sensitivity is like it's like food allergies is just something that just, you know, a lot of times people just they don't take seriously, or just, you know, they just don't realize, you don't know what you don't know until you
Right,
know it. I mean,
right.
in regards to food allergies, you know, really this is something, it's you know, with you it was so clear as to like how it was affecting you. But for our
Absolutely.
viewers, it's definitely something that I would highly recommend as a coach. Like that, if you haven't had it done, it's a good idea to, you know, have the testing done with your doctor just to kind of see, because you know it's like some of the times these things like that are impacting our energy, like where we're feeling tired, it's just something that we're allergic to, and so sometimes it's just a simple
Or even
avoidance of that
sensitive
food.
to, right? I
Yeah,
mean, sensitive.
exactly.
And,
Yeah, it
and,
could just be
an
sensitive.
allergy, you know, where you're going to get the hives and anaphylactic shock and things like that. That's not
Yeah,
what we're
no, no,
referring to for me.
right,
Sensitivity just was the lack of energy and
correct.
feeling very heavy, very like headachy. Some days when there would be like there's a like migraine. I know there's a medical term for that, but
Yeah,
um there was some of that involved with it. And so I remembered what I wanted to share, circling
Okay.
back around to, you know, living with CF and the diabetes and everything else that comes with it. There's days where there's just not energy, right?
Right, right, right.
To do everything under the sun. We're always wanting
Yeah,
to do
absolutely.
more. But you couple that with a food sensitivity situation, and then it just feels magnified. Like,
Yeah, absolutely.
you know, you have a tough time breathing because you feel like you have the elephant on your chest analogy. But this elephant's not only on your chest, but your entire body. And it's not just the elephant, but it's his brother and sister with him too.
Right.
So,
Yeah,
and you're like, ah, I don't want this anymore. So
right.
it's work to get to the point of eliminating and figuring it out. But I can honestly say it's very worth it. It's worth the
Yeah,
journey and the
absolutely.
effort to put into
Absolutely. I mean, the other thing too, just to, throw this out there, like we really didn't dive into this too much, but I mean, we've used, have, you've been to your doctor, had numerous labs done, um, so that we can see your serum levels, your vitamins, your minerals, all of these things. And through working together, like with your practitioners and working to help improve your diet, improve the nutrient density of your diet, we've been able to help you improve like your vitamin levels, like minerals. Your cholesterol's even substantially improved since we've been working on these things.
it.
So it's really had a payoff in your health.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, the fat solubles, you know, the vitamin A, D, E, and K,
Right.
still working on one or two of those, but overall, vast
Yeah,
improvements.
best. Yeah. Well, good. I mean, I really just wanted to touch on this a bit more, just to kind of like bring people into this a bit. This is just one area that we've been very focused on over this last year, and I really wanted to bring it up today because we've seen so much improvement, we've seen so much change with such a simple, it wasn't a long process. It sounds simple, tracking it doesn't need to be difficult. Going to your doctor and getting these panels done, doesn't need to be difficult, but it takes time, and I think that's the key thing. Sometimes we say things are hard when they're not hard, they just take
Right.
time. And this is one
Right.
of those things where it just takes time. So, but it's worth it, and your health is worth it. And as Tami can attest, like, these things have been very valuable to her. So I would definitely implore you that to take the time to consult with your primary care. And ultimately, like if you feel like you need a hand, reach out to Tami and I through our channel. We would be glad to, partner with you and help you, navigate this journey.
Absolutely. And one more last, not necessarily last thought, but one more note to that thought process is it isn't just indicative to people that have CF or diabetes
Correct.
or a identified diagnosed chronic illness. You could
Right.
just be struggling with general fatigue or not really knowing what's happening and looking for answers. And
Absolutely.
maybe it's as simple as your diet, you know, and looking at
Absolutely.
what are you eating every day. And we Chris and or I, Chris really especially, can help navigate that whole diet and nutrition conversation if this is something that you feel like would be beneficial for you in the future.
Well, it was a pleasure, Tami.
Absolutely. Another great conversation. I'm so excited for this opportunity to join all of you and for to spend the time with you, Coach Chris. You're amazing. Love to everyone out there, and we hope that you find that which serves you best in your own journey, following integrative approaches and healthier living. Thanks so much. Until next time.
See you later, guys.
Bye.